Today we will be talking about RNDR render once again. I am extremely excited about this one, and today I want to introduce why it is essentially $1 trillion opportunity, which is the Airbnb of GPU computing power. And if we take a look at the chart, on our 1 day chart, we're up since about October now, and it's just up. We are beginning to turn down a little bit on our MACD and RSI, but if we take a look at the weekly chart, we are topped out on those essentially. So we're in very good shape there. We might hover around here some just to combat some older support and resistance points. But if we go back on the month chart, which is almost the exact same, we're in the why is it doing that? We're in the up only part. So I don't really see this returning back to where it was, except for some unforeseen event at this point. But as for what's happening right now on the 4 hour chart, we are trying to pull back up from a low MACD. So it does appear as if we are probably hovering here for a bit before pulling back up to about the $5 to $6 mark. So I do want to play this just because it has a lot of information, but it is long. So I want to make a few points first. So here's a comment from Elon Musk. This is why GPUs cost so much. Runs local, I can't say STs, video diffusion once, and thinks I should fill a warehouse with GPUs, which is what Render is essentially trying to do, but they are not purchasing a lot and operating themselves. They are creating a decentralized network of individual GPUs in order to provide their computing power. So why do I think that this can be such a massively highly performing project? Well, for example, Google now spends more on compute than on people. And this infograph of NVIDIA's third quarter earnings provides a clear picture of the exponential growth of GPU demand. Not owning Render, especially at this point of the AI and pretty much everything else that involves GPU computation, will certainly be looked back as the largest missed opportunity of this decade. And I am beginning to agree with that more and more. So if we look back even to the first quarter of 1999, the third quarter revenue of NVIDIA was 97 million. And in the third quarter of 2023, we saw explosive expansion up to 18 billion. And that is a huge increase over that time in 2022. And a lot of that is contributable to AI and how AI is being implemented not only in graphics, but in things like machine learning as well, which we will cover in this one. So, the main reason why NVIDIA is a catalyst for render. The high earnings of NVIDIA are because of the huge demand for GPUs for AI. Render is one of the largest AI coins, and during the second quarter event, AI coins like Render pumped heavily. That's why the third quarter could be a catalyst. So that reporting on earnings will come out not too long from now, and that could impact the price a lot as well. So if Nvidia can become $1 trillion company, I don't see why Render wouldn't be able to do that as well. If you look into the GPU crisis, the Render network's decentralized approach has me intrigued because they are leveraging millions of GPUs worldwide for AI, XR. Is that like augmented reality or holographic, or X as in AR or VR? I'm not sure. And 3D tasks. It's like connecting to an omnipresent computational grid of supercomputers. It is an app store except for GPU resources and power. Plus, it seems like there is a potential collaboration with the Apple neural engine as well, which is 100% true. I have touched on that previously, but I want to do a concentrated take on Render and Apple, especially with their VR headset coming out soon. So here is a short explanation of why Render is actually positioned to become the Airbnb of GPU computing. So hunger for computing and GPU rendering power is expanding from gaming and film to the metaverse, AI, and into medical and scientific fields as well. So, traditional ways of accessing powerful GPUs include cloud computing, which a lot of projects operate on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud, which makes those projects and products dependent upon a single third party's computational hardware, which, in my opinion, isn't the best way to actually build your own product, because you don't own that stuff. And if they have any issues, then you have a lot of issues as well. There are data centers, supercomputers, and purchasing an ever more powerful graphics card. But all of those are expensive and not very easy um, to actually obtain. So the Render network addresses these by creating a decentralized peer-to-peer GPU compute uh, program. It draws off of a previously untapped potential of computing power all over the world by allowing individuals to monetize their idle GPUs in exchange for rendered tokens. It is cost effective and it's easily accessible, and it is extremely expandable. So, as you might have already guessed, render is the token. Okay, yeah. At first, the economic model of the render network was a multi-tier pricing fee that was based on the speed, security, and cost. The main drawback of this was that the value of render did not reflect the amount of GPU power used on the render network itself. That is why the burn and mint equilibrium model was proposed, and that has been passed, and that has now been put into effect on the render network that is now operating on Solana. And if you want more information on that, I actually have a video explanation of that and how the increased appeal and the increased application of the render network paired up with this burn and mint equilibrium, as well as the exponentially expanding demand of GPUs can put the price of a single rendered token probably over 1,000 each in 2025, or possibly even earlier than that. So I did explain that more. In fact, I actually used this thread here in part. And at this point, we might be asking who will actually want to use the render network. So Otoy, the company behind Render, has a lot of really big people involved, which I have done a video on that as well, which include HBO, Apple, Netflix, and Microsoft, just as a few examples. And keep in mind that VR, AR, and the Metaverse will also require easily accessible large amounts of GPU power. So that is pretty much it there. I have touched on almost everything else at some point in time. So now let's actually watch why the render network is a $1 trillion opportunity, which can be called the Airbnb of GPU computing power.
And then most importantly, because I think there's going to be some big winners at the intersection of AI and crypto. And so I want to capitalize those opportunities in the existing multi-coin funds. Airbnb for your GPU. There is an extreme shortage of GPUs today at all major cloud providers. I don't think this shortage will be resolved anytime soon.
There's a certain kind of computer chip that has become incredibly important to the modern world. The GPU, short for Graphics Processing Unit.
If you think about how graphics work, your monitor, your computer monitor, has a lot of pixels, thousands of pixels on it. And your computer needs to calculate at any given time what each of those pixels need to look like. It was discovered fairly quickly that they were actually really good at the kind of mathematics that underpins artificial intelligence.
The demand is literally from every corner of the world.
GPUs are, at this point, considerably harder to get than drugs.
The obvious solution is like, hey, there are a bunch of graphics cards, people's computers all over the world. They're just not accessible in cloud environments today. So wouldn't it be nice if you could leverage these GPUs to do training and to do inference for these large compute jobs? The first investment we made in the Airbnb for your GPU sector broadly is Render Token, which we invested in May of 2021, so roughly 2 years ago.
And if you look at the last 10 years, this is me on stage with Jensen, the CEO of NVIDIA, announcing cloud rendering, right? Because we always knew that there was a problem. You want to have more GPUs available on the cloud, and 10 years ago, there really wasn't any GPUs. And it was a very proud moment for us because it really was the beginning of what became the Render Network.
I'd like to introduce from Otoy. Where's Jules? I saw him earlier. Hey, Jules, come up here. Jules Erbach, he is the CEO of Otoy. He's the founder of Otoy.
This particular window has 112 GPUs connected to it. Now, you don't need all those GPUs at once. In fact, we can service many customers. It's completely elastic. But when you want to render that frame, you should take, as Jensen was saying.
Now, by the way, the fact that all of this graphics is done in Southern California, and we're looking at it like this,
that's pretty cool.
Is already pretty cool.
Yep. And thank you. Yep. And thank you. Yep. And thank you. And now we're heading into a world with real-time rendering AI. It's really kind of hard to predict, how massive GPU computing is going to change things.
Pushing it onto the list of top 10 most valuable companies in the world.
This is one of the most historical guidance raises of any large cap tech company in the last 30 years.
As the leading AI chip manufacturer, analysts predict NVIDIA's valuation to grow more, way more.
So I mentioned some of these incredible builders. I really think everyone should go watch Jules' speech. Jules from Render is going to change the world. If you didn't see what he's working on and what he's built and what he's using Solana for, it is photorealistic real-time rendering of anything, any 3D model, using a distributed set of GPUs all over the world with a token to access it. It's basically like, what is the cost of a virtual photon and ray tracing, and it's going to be, I think, the basis for a metaverse that is so much more real than any of us has been talking about or expecting. And I think it's going to happen way faster than any of us is expecting.
I mentioned to a friend last night that I was talking to you today, and he described...
I'm so excited to not only own some, but to continue to be able to purchase more at the prices that we have right now.